The learning objective in maths today is to multiply or times unit and non-unit fractions. So let's tune in to our fractions and unpick what those words mean. Okay, so the first question we need to think about is, what is a unit fraction? Okay, now a unit fraction is any fraction where the numerator is 1. Okay, so if I think about a fraction, and I'm going to do, 1/2. I could say 1 out of 2. Okay, the numerator is the top number. So a unit fraction is any fraction where the numerator is 1. So for example, 1/2, 1/3, 1/4. Okay, that is a unit fractions. All of the numerators are the same, they are 1. So therefore, a non-unit fraction is just the opposite. A non-unit fraction is any fraction where the top number, the numerator, is bigger than 1. So for example, 4/5. Oh, it's gone a bit wonky. 4/5 or 2/3. Okay. Write down some more if you can think of any more. 3/9. Okay. They are all non-unit fractions because the numerator, the top number, is bigger than 1. Okay. Let me know if you can think of any more of your own fractions. So you're going to be timesing different fractions together today. Let's look at our steps to success. So the first thing that you need to do when you're multiplying two fractions together, like 1/3 times by 1/4, okay, the first thing you need to do to be successful is you need to times both of the numerators together first. So the numerator is the top number, okay, so you would do 1 times 1. Okay, the next thing you would need to do to be successful is multiply the denominators together. Denominator is the bottom number of a fraction. So for example here, we would need to do 3 times 4. Once you have done that, now this is the part that's a bit trickier, and this is to push your learning. You need to simplify or cancel down the fraction to write it in its simplest form. Remember, we've looked at this before, haven't we, about equivalent fractions and writing the fraction down in its simplest form. Okay, let's look at an example. We've got our steps to success here to follow. So here we have 2/3 times 3/4. Okay, let's follow our steps to success, and the first thing we need to do is multiply the numerators. So we'd write 2 multiplied by 3, 2 lots of 3, which is 3 6. So here I would write 6 as my numerator. Next thing I need to do is multiply the denominators. Denominators of each fraction is 3 times 4. So 3 lots of 4 is 12. So that brings my answer to 6/12, which is fine, that answer is correct, but to push myself even further with my learning, I need to write the answer in its simplest form. Okay, now 6/12, I know that 6 is half of 12, so that is equivalent to 1/2. Okay, 6/12 is the same as 1/2. So that's what you're going to be doing today. Okay, now remember, we have looked at simplifying fractions before. Okay, so if we look at these pizzas, this shows us visually that 4/8, 4 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 8 are the same as 2/4, and it's also the same as 1/2. Okay, so we just reduce down the fractions, still the same amount of pizza, but we can just write it in a much simpler way, okay, by saying half. Okay, so when we reduce down our fractions, we need to divide the numerator and denominator by the highest common factor. So remember, whatever we divide the numerator by, we divide the denominator by 2. Okay, and the highest common factor is the highest number that goes into both numbers. Okay, so if we look at the example here, it says simplify the fraction down 8/12. The largest number that goes into both 8 and 12 is 4. So the greatest common factor is 4. Okay, so we take the fraction 8/12, we divide the numerator by 4, which is 2, and then we divide the denominator by 4, which is 3. So 8/12 is the same as 2/3. Okay, so that's the simplest form that you can write it in. I would say just focus on multiplying the fractions together at the moment. If you want to really push yourself, then simplify the fraction down into its simplest form. Okay, let's just try 1 together. So here we have 1/4 times by 1/3. Okay, so the first thing we do in our steps of success is we times the numerators, the top numbers. So we do 1 times 1. 1 lot of 1 is 1. Okay, next thing I would do is I would multiply the denominators, the bottom numbers. 4 times 3. 4 lots of 3, I can count in my head, is 3, 6, 9, 12. So just by multiplying those numbers together, I know the answer is 1/12. Okay, just focus on multiplying the fractions together. Okay, that can't actually be simplified into a more simple fraction because the numerator is 1. Okay, if you get stuck, this is really tricky, then just message me. Good luck.